Ready for a no meat, no egg, no dairy, fast, low cost, little energy to make, great tasting meal? Then let's make one. Hello, pizza. Who doesn't love pizza? I love pizza. I've probably made pizzas 1,000 different ways. That's the beauty of pizza. One ingredient you could take out, substitute for something else, you got a whole other different pizza. So today I'm just gonna make one of my favorites, and I'm gonna do videos on probably hundreds of them, so because they're all my favorites in a sense. But what I'm using today is I'm using a flour tortilla. And I'm using the thick version. There's a nice thick one, and it makes a great thin crust pizza. I love these. What I will note is if you're going to do this, a couple of things. One is I put a little olive oil right to the edge all the way around, and then I make sure my whatever kind of sauce, if I'm going to use a sauce, goes all the way up to that edge as well. Because these could get kind of crispy in the oven because you're going to leave this in there for at least 15 minutes to get everything cooked. Now, I don't like overcooking anything, so I like my vegetables a little bit of crunchy. I like my mushrooms a little crunchy. I just like everything not overcooked. I did one Roma tomato, which is this one right here, good size one. That's all that my sauce is going to be on top of this. It's going to be a very thin layer. You're probably barely going to see it. And I'm going to season this now just to show you what I normally put in this type of base sauce that's going to go on here. And I've got, fresh basil, onions. I've got oyster mushrooms, smoked tofu, and the summer squash, and the zucchini, which will go on, and then some very thin slices of avocado afterward. So I'm going to get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in. Remember, this is just the Roma tomato, so I'm putting a little bit in there. I'm also putting a little tiny bit around the edge here, just like that, and then I'm going to rub that around so it comes right up to the very edge of the tortilla, just like that, even over a little bit, doesn't hurt, just so it's coated slightly. Now that'll brown up nicely, but it'll also seal in some of that moisture on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to put I already put the olive oil in here, so I'm going to put a little granulated garlic just to season the tomato. I'm going to put a little bit of salt, very little, 2 cranks, that's it. And they're both half cranks, so it's 1 full crank basically. And then a little bit of pepper. And that's all that's going in there as far as seasoning goes. But I'm going to take the cilantro and I'm putting that in the actual sauce. Okay? So I'm going to cut this really fine, make sure it goes in the sauce. Just like that, very fine cilantro. That goes in there. Let's get all the other pieces that fell out. And I'm just going to stir this all together. So that's beautiful mix. Look at that. Oh, it's just gorgeous. It smells fantastic. And then I'm going to spoon it on, just like you normally would with any tomato sauce. And I'm going to work my edges first, so I make sure I just get a little bit all the way out. Remember, it's going to be very thin. I'm not putting a whole bunch on here. I'm not making a big cheese tomato pizza. In fact, I'm not using any cheese at all, not vegan cheese, nothing on here. And I have made pizzas with vegan cheese on them. They're good. I just personally prefer them this way. So you see I'm spreading this all the way out as much as I can, getting some moisture all the way out to that edge everywhere around. Just like that. See, that's just beautiful, just covered just enough. That's just great. So you're going to get a little tomato in every slice of this. Probably get 4 good-sized slices out. You can make thinner slices too. You can make this as an hors d'oeuvre, which is really great. And make some thin slices and serve them on trays at parties. It's just fantastic. Really good. Let's get a little bit of that green. It's a little heavy over there. Put it more in the middle. Great, good. Okay. All right, that looks good. We're up there. That's all going to sort of melt around and steam up and everything. Let's put that aside. And now we're just going to layer this with our stuff. So stuff first is going to be all of my summer squash, which I'm putting all the way around. And again, you don't have to put summer squash. You can put something else. That's up to you. What you want to put on this pizza, it's all up to you. Like that. I'm going to put one piece dead in the middle, and then I'm going to put my zucchini in here as well. No particular reason why I'm making this pattern, to be honest with you. You know what, I may even, let's do this. Let's overlap right here. This will be fine. Not going to make any difference all the way around, like that. And then I'm going to do a little bit of salt and pepper on top of here, because these need a little bit of seasoning. Otherwise, they're going to be really bland and kind of strange tasting, probably. And then I'm going to put a little pepper. Just like that. So you can see I just sprinkled it. And then I'll put just a tiny bit of just the tiniest bit of granulated garlic right on top of them. Just like that. So that all is going to cook in beautifully. Oops, let's get that. And that's it. Okay, now we're going to put the mushrooms and the tofu on. So what I'm going to do with this tofu is I'm going to cut really thin slices, and then I'm going to cut these into small pieces as well. So they're going to be very, very thin. And I already have my oven preheating at 450. You can see how thin I'm cutting these. These are like because you don't want to bite into these like big chunks. This flavor, and this is the protein basically going on. Smoked tofu is just so wonderful. Especially, I do it, I make all my own smoked tofu right out here in my backyard. After I'm done with it, I vacuum seal it. And I keep a month's batch of this in the refrigerator vacuum sealed. And what happens is in that vacuum sealing, all this starts to penetrate, all the smoke flavor starts to really penetrate all the way deep into the tofu. And once it's vacuumed, it's no problem to keep it in the refrigerator for a month. It just works perfectly. Okay, never had one go bad yet. But you got to make sure you get a good vacuum. You can't just have like leaks in it. Now you got to. I check mine from time to time, but I have a really sort of. It's a professional vacuum sealer, and it does a really, really good job. So I'm just going to take these into little small pieces. Here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, like that. So these are little flat pieces of tofu, if you can see them there. And I'm just going to sprinkle these all over the top of the pizza, getting them all nice and spread around real good, evenly. I like to make sure they're kind of flat too, so they don't overlap too much. Which is a bit of it takes a couple minutes to do this, a little bit of time, no big deal. But it comes out really good when you do it right. So I just like to make sure I get some everywhere where there's sparse areas. Let's put that 2 there. Is there 2 there? Yeah. Okay, let's get those opened up. Okay. Sorry, that took, a few minutes, a couple minutes maybe. No big deal. Okay, so there we go. Okay, that's starting to look really good. And now we're going to take our oyster mushrooms. Let's unstem them from here for the time being. Like that. Now I'm going to That's stems and everything, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top of here. Like that. And this is probably a really good lunch or dinner for 2 people. No problem. And now I'm going to just do some little green onions around. I'm not going to put a lot of it on, but enough to give some really great flavor. Like that. And the basil will go on afterward. I don't put the basil on now. And avocado, those go on together, so they'll go on after. And let's see, get that out of the way. Let's get the oven charged all the way back up to 15 minutes. I already have my pizza stone in there, so it's nice and hot. And then there it is. So take a look at that. Is that beautiful? Look at that. Okay, and I'm going to do one last thing. I'm just drizzle a little bit more olive oil over the top here. A few drops around. I want to cover. I don't want to put a ton of this on. Maybe just a teaspoon total on top of all these bits and pieces over here. And that's it. That goes in the oven, and I will be back. Okay, I'm back. Here it is. This is just 8 minutes in my toaster oven. Yours may take longer, but this was at 450. Look how just fantastic. That is just absolutely beautiful. So let's finish it up. I'm going to do some really nice thin slices of avocado on here. Let's get rid of that stuff. Let's see if I can get 8 even slices out. So there's one. Probably not. Let's do 1, 2. No, we're going to get 4 slices out, but that'll be good enough. 3. 4. Yeah, we got a little left. Let's see if we can fill in some of the mid areas here. 1, 2. Somebody's going to get cheated on their avocado. 3. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Just because I want it perfect. I thought I was going to get all the slices out of that out of that third of an avocado, but not going to happen. So let's continue on. That one might be a little heavy-handed, but okay, and then one more. Check it out. Beautiful. Just gorgeous. Now, the topping. Well, let's get a clean paper plate out here. Roll all this up. That bag. That's the finish. There it is. Whoop, careful. Just nicely toasted around the outside. I'll just put a still picture up there. But here, I'll hold it there so you can see. Just beautiful. That is just... the smell with the basil and the garlic is just fantastic. There you have it. Toaster oven, tortilla, pizza, thin crust. You're going to love it. I'm FOODMAKER V, and remember, the best investment you can ever make is an investment in your health. I'll see you next time.